Hi everyone, this is Veronica. Today we are going to discuss about why is the lychee toxin causing deaths. So we'll discuss this in detail, that how lychee toxin is responsible and should we not eat lychee anymore, what is the truth behind it, what has happened in Bihar. We'll discuss in detail about this. This is a channel StudyIQ. If you're preparing for any government exam, our pen drive and tablet courses are also available. And if you're preparing for UPSC CAC 2020, then our pen drive course is available, where there is 100% coverage of UPSC vast syllabus, daily current affairs. Top faculties have prepared this course, and you can also get this course at Rs 625 per month only. Now, what is the relevance of this topic in your exam? It will be covered in your health and education topic under mains paper 2. At objective level, what is AES, Acute Encephalitis Syndrome? What is lychee toxin, which is the name of the lychee toxin which is responsible? And mains level, how we can prevent child mortality in our country. So for my video updates and queries, you can reach up to me from Instagram or on Facebook. So why this is in news? Because see, acute encephalitis syndrome in few districts of Bihar has so far claimed the lives of more than 100 children. And most of the deaths have been attributed to low blood sugar, that is known as hypoglycemia. Now we will talk about what is AES, that is acute encephalitis syndrome. See, in short, I will call it AES. So basically it is an umbrella term used for referring to hospital children with clinical neurological manifestations which include mental confusion. So mental confusion is one of the symptoms. Then disorientation, convulsions, where you lose control on your muscles and your body start doing certain kind of movements. Then even the child or the person suffering can go into coma. Then meningitis, that is caused by virus or bacteria. Encephalitis, that is mostly the Japanese encephalitis, which is caused again by a virus. Encephalopathy, cerebral malaria, and scrub typhus caused by bacteria are collectively called acute encephalitis syndrome. So all these syndromes collectively, they are known as acute encephalitis syndrome. While usually what happens, microbes cause all the other conditions, but encephalopathy in this case is having a biochemical origin. Origin is biochemical pathway, defect in biochemical pathway, and hence it is very different from the rest. Now there are different types of encephalopathy. In the present case, encephalopathy is associated with hypoglycemia, that is low blood sugar. Hence hypoglycemic encephalopathy is the name given to it. Now see whether this encephalitis versus hypoglycemic encephalopathy, when we talk about, then is encephalitis different from hypoglycemic encephalopathy? See, the two conditions show very different symptoms and clinical manifestations. Now in first case, fever on the first day is one of the symptoms of encephalitis. So firstly I am talking about encephalitis. So fever is one of the symptoms on the first day before the brain dysfunction begins. So first fever and then brain dysfunction starts, it begins. While in another case, fever is seen in children in case of hypoglycemic encephalopathy. Fever is always after the onset of brain dysfunction. So brain dysfunction first and then fever. Actually, fever is caused because of brain dysfunction in the case of hypoglycemic encephalopathy. And not all children exhibit fever. Some children have no fever, while others may have mild or very high fever. So the blood sugar level is usually normal in children with encephalitis, but it is very low in children with hypoglycemic encephalopathy. Now what happens in hypoglycemic encephalopathy? See, however, in hypoglycemic encephalopathy, children go to bed without any illness but manifest symptoms such as vomiting, convulsion, or semi-consciousness early next morning, that is between the time 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. That is what have been observed in the cases in Bihar. And that time the blood sugar level is also very low, it drops down, hence the name is given hypoglycemic encephalopathy. Now, why it has killed so many children in Bihar? See, in majority of cases, children died due to hypoglycemic encephalopathy, and according to one of the PIB release, hypoglycemia, that is the low blood sugar level, it was reported in high percentage of children who actually died. And unlike hypoglycemic encephalopathy, encephalitis, when you talk about encephalitis, it does not cause low blood sugar level. So death in high percentage of children couldn't have been due to encephalitis. So we can rule out that it was due to encephalitis. It has been due to hypoglycemic encephalopathy. Now, why the question arises here is why it has affected only young children in Bihar. See, there are few observations. It has been observed that the malnourished children between 2 to 10 years of age fall ill and die due to hypoglycemic encephalopathy. But it is still not clear that why older children or adults do not suffer the same way. But this thing has helped us ruling out few things. This clear discrimination by age, that only children between 2 to 10 years are being affected, is also a reason why underlying cause of the illness cannot be a virus, because virus or microorganism, it won't discriminate on the basis of age or gender, right? So a virus does not discriminate by age, and children younger than 2 years too are affected by Japanese encephalitis. So it has also been documented that most of the children falling ill are from the families camping in orchards to harvest the fruits. So these children tend to collect and eat the fruits that have fallen on the ground, and hypoglycemic encephalopathy outbreaks are restricted to April and July. So this is the peak season in June when the lychee is harvested. So there is a connection with Litchi. So now we'll jump to Litchi. What is the role of Litchi? So this is very important to understand. In 2012-13, there was a research paper which has shown that a toxin is found in lychee fruit that was responsible for causing hypoglycemic encephalopathy. In 2017, an India-US team confirmed the role of toxin, and the name of toxin is MCPG, that is methylene cyclopropyl glycine. Now what is happening? See, early morning it is normal for blood sugar to dip for several hours of no food intake. Now what happens in case of undernourished children who had gone to sleep without a meal at night, develop hypoglycemia, their blood sugar drops down. You should understand, like the cars, they need fuel. So what is the fuel for them? Petrol and diesel. But human body is also a car, just for example. So human body also needs fuel. So what is fuel for human body? Glucose, right? We need glucose always. Our brain needs glucose. So undernourished children who had gone to sleep without a meal at night develop hypoglycemia. The brain needs normal level of glucose in the blood, and when the liver is unable to supply the need, there is an alternate pathway also. Our body has a backup plan also in case if it is not getting glucose, and that backup plan is your fatty acid oxidation. So the alternate pathway of glucose synthesis called fatty acid oxidation is turned on when glucose supply is interrupted. But now what is happening? Even this backup plan is hindered by MCPG. So this toxin blocks the fatty acid oxidation. So lychee does not cause any harm in well-nourished children, but only in undernourished children who had eaten lychee fruit the previous day and gone to bed on an empty stomach. So now you understand this concept that our body need glucose. So when glucose is not there, fatty acid oxidation will provide energy to our body. But in this case, MCPG, which is present in lychee, will interrupt this pathway also. So the children who have gone to bed without eating anything are admitted to hospital. Now see how this MCPG is hazardous in our body. So this toxin acts in two ways to harm the brain and even cause death. So because of this toxin, the body's natural mechanism to correct low blood glucose level is prevented. This is the one reason, thus leading to a drop in fuel supply to the brain, and even this leads to drowsiness, disorientation, and even unconsciousness. When the toxin stops the fatty acid conversion, as I told you, into glucose midway, amino acids are released. So these amino acids which are very toxic to brain cells. So amino acid cause brain cells to swell, resulting in brain edema. As a result, children may suffer from convulsions, deepening coma, and even death, because amino acids are the charged particles. So you might have heard about the process called osmosis, right? Hypoosmosis, hyperosmosis, plasmolysis. Just for example, let me give you an example in our daily life. If you take a bowl, so if there is a bowl filled with water, and what you'll do, you will put some raisins, like in Hindi we call it kishmish, right? So that dry fruit raisins, if you put in the water, it will swell up because water will go inside the raisins, right? So this swelled up is known as edema, swelling. But now again, that swollen raisin, if we will keep it in saline solution, it will get back to normal. It will be drained out, water will be drained out. So you can read about osmosis also to understand that why brain cells swell up in this case. So this is the reason, this is the concept. So what we can actually do to prevent this, see, by making sure that the undernourished children do not eat plenty of lychee fruit, ensuring that they eat some food and not go to bed on an empty stomach, right? And can this hypoglycemic encephalopathy be treated? Then yes, encephalopathy can be easily treated with infusing dextrose. So this dextrose is a simple sugar that is made from corn and is chemically identical to glucose. And infusing 10% dextrose not only restores blood sugar to a safe level, but also stops the production of amino acids, which are toxic to brain cells, by shutting down body's attempt to convert fatty acid into glucose. Now together with dextrose infusion, infusing 3% saline. So 3% saline is also given. It will help reducing the edema, as I explained you in the case of raisins of the brain cells, right? So the concentration of ions in the fluid outside the brain cells becomes more than what is inside the cell. This causes the fluid from the cells to come out. So suppose this is your brain cell, this is the outside. So when we will give saline, so there will be more saline outside. So this is the swollen blood cell. Just you can compare it with the raisin, as I told you. So this is what the harm has been done to this cell. Now when we will give saline, so the concentration of the saline ions in the fluid outside the brain cell becomes more than what is inside. So it will cause the fluid from the cells to come out, thus reducing edema and damage to the brain cells. So if dextrose infusion is not started within the 4 hours after the onset of symptoms, the brain cells may not recover but will die. As a result, even if they survive, children suffer from various aspects of brain damage. So brain damage will be done in 4 hours. Speech will get affected, mental retardation could be there, muscle stiffness, weakness, and so forth. Many things could be there. So this is how we can give treatment to the people, to the children suffering. So this is all about today's lecture. So yeah, one question, that should we eat lychee? Then yes, you can eat lychee, but don't eat it empty stomach, right? So this is all about today's lecture. For my video updates, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you.